Hi, my name is Derek Monseer. I'm a two-time All-American from Iowa State University. Today, Coach Douglas and I will take you through some of the many techniques from the upper body as well as the top and bottom position that enabled me to be successful here at Iowa State.
The first lesson deals with the two-on-one control. From the two-on-one control, there are a number of excellent techniques that Derek will teach you how to do. The first one is the two-on-one drill. He shows you how he gets a two-on-one as they start their tie-up. Both guys work for two-on-one from a collar tie-up. Work for two-on-one. Both guys work in collar tie-up and work to the two-on-one. There's a collar tie-up. Derek pulls the arm off, moves his opponent around. Holding and securing the arm and moving your opponent around is very important. Now notice how he shifts from one two-on-one from one side to the opposite side. And notice what he does with his wrist. His wrist comes across, grabs the wrist, and then he rotates his shoulder underneath, pulls the arm over. Face the camera so you guys can see that. Move toward the camera. There you go. Get over there. Show him how you're pulling that arm off. Excellent. Pull it off and change. Pull it off and change. Okay. This is how you control the two-on-one when your opponent puts his hand on your shoulder. He puts his hand on your shoulder. He's holding you off. Grab the wrist. Swing your body around. Make sure you pull your opponent. And in demonstrating this, your opponent should use his free hand for balance. Opponent should also put his free hand in play for balance. This makes the technique much more effective. Okay. All right, Derek's going to now go into a series of different techniques, and we'll explain it as he goes through it. First technique is a snap to the mat, spin around. First technique controls the two-on-one, pulls him to the mat, and then arm drags and runs around. Do it on both sides. Takes the arm off, controls the two-on-one, pulls him down, places his hand down, goes to the arm drag position, and moves around. One more time. Takes the two-on-one control. Pulls the hand to the mat. Arm drag position, moves around. Two-on-one. The opponent places his hand on the shoulder, pulls the arm down, two-on-one. Moves around. Okay, instead of the hand on the shoulder, the guy puts his hand on the collar tie-up. This is same thing from a collar tie-up. Opponent does a collar tie-up, pull it down, plants the hand down, runs around. He's using an arm drag to block the arm. The next technique is what we call a single, and we're going to use two combinations. One's called a high dive. First one is the single. From two-on-one, takes the arm off. He pulls him, he reacts up, he runs and gets the single. Goes to the far knee finish. Always finish down on the mat. Okay, one more time. Do it on the other side so they can see you. Takes a two-on-one, pulls him, runs to the single. Finishes down on the mat. That's excellent. Variation of the same technique. High dive. Two-on-one. Pulls it. Dives and catches him around the waist. Knocks him down. Do it again. Slow it down. Do it a couple times, different angles. Next technique, arm whip. Pulls it up over his shoulders, throws the arm down on the mat. Starts to run around. Next, from a two-on-one position, he's going to step outside of the leg. Hooks the arm, steps outside and under the arm, knocks him down. Good. Do that from a variety of different positions. It's important that you get good body position. You've got a hook, and the step is crucial. Steps. A variation of this is use a hop into position from a two-on-one position. Now notice how he hops into position, takes him over. Next technique is from the 2-on-1. He's going to do an arm drag, setup. His opponent reacts and he spins to the side. 2-on-1. He changes his arm position. Turn, face the camera, face. Again, show him how you're doing it. Go about 3/4 of the way. Show him about 3/4 of it. Just rehearse 3/4. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, notice how he shifts his position, shifts his feet, arm drag, shifts his feet, shifts his hands, arm drag. Excellent technique. Next, 2-on-1 control position to a headlock. This is when your opponent grabs a hold of your head or your wrist. 2-on-1, your opponent grabs your wrist, reach underneath. Come, turn. Right there. Look, show him how you shift. He shifts his hand from the wrist underneath and pulls this arm across his body, reaches across and grabs the far shoulder for the headlock. Now this is very important. 2-on-1 position. Your opponent grabs your arm. You underhook, headlock. Excellent. This time, instead of grabbing your arm, he grabs the collar, overhook the arm, headlock. Again, notice how he reaches over the collar tie, overhooks the collar tie up, turns his body, turn and looks down, headlock. This is a duck under from a 2-on-1, far side duck under. Excellent technique. Notice how he gets position, lifts his elbow. Look at the elbow lift. Lifts the elbow, jumps across his body, puts his head in the hole, as we call it. This next technique is a slide by from a 2-on-1. What you're going to do, put a lot of pressure on your opponent, slide to the side of his arms. Next technique is arm throw. From a 2-on-1 control position, your opponent defends with an underhook. You're going to arm spin. Look how he positions his arms. Again, you allow your opponent to go to the underhook position so that you can arm spin him. Okay? From a 2-on-1 position, your opponent is fighting your elbows. He goes for the underhook. As he underhooks, you arm spin him. From your 2-on-1 control, when you feel your opponent underhooking you, you retreat. Retreat into the arm spin position. Excellent. The next technique is the 2-on-1. You're going to put your opponent's hand down on the mat by blocking his instep. It's actually stepping on it, but we call it blocking. Block the instep, put him down. Okay, this is an excellent way to start the 2-on-1 series, because once you start the 2-on-1 with this type of attack, your opponent's always raising up. Okay, again, control the 2-on-1. Try to try to get good position on his foot. Pull his arm forward and knock him down. This next series is called the arm throw. These are excellent techniques from the upper body position. You can use them anytime your opponent is in an upper body situation. Here's a drill that Derek has a number of drills to develop his arm throw. First drill he's going to show is how he positions himself when his opponent has his hand on his shoulder. Excellent. Notice he waits for the hand to touch the shoulder, retreats a little bit to get him off balance, turns into the arm throw. Now, to perfect this, you have to perfect the footwork, you have to perfect the timing. So he's practicing with the hand on the shoulder. Next technique, instead of the hand going to the shoulder, the hand goes to the collar tie-up. His opponent comes out, collar tie-up, same technique. Now he'll rehearse this from every position. Notice the torque that he gets when he bows and his hips come up in the air. As he makes his turn, he bows his head down, his hips come up in the air, and he gets a real good whip on his opponent. This technique is used when your opponent is pulling his arm away when you fake the arm drag. Excellent. You fake the arm drag, you feel him pulling away, you have to jump into position. He jumps into position, jumps between his opponent's knees. And notice it's important that he land with his feet between his opponent's knees. Your opponent is now defending, or your opponent is attacking you with an underhook, from an underhook position. Your opponent is attacking you. You're going to position your body so that you can attack his arm with an arm spin. Okay. There's the underhook, arm spin. Excellent technique when your opponent's trying to move you around the mat with an arm spin, especially at the edge of the mat. Move over in the yellow zone. Move over toward the yellow zone. Your opponent is now trying to push you off the mat at the edge of the mat. This is a good time to do this technique. The next technique is the arm spin from a body lock position. Body lock position is when you're controlling your opponent's elbow and he's controlling your elbow. Your head is resting over his shoulder. You're in a square position, pushing and moving from a square position to a staggered position and fighting to get the arms in a better position. First technique is arm throw. He fakes the bear hug. His opponent reaches, pulls back for balance. He goes into the arm throw. He fakes the bear hug. His opponent moves back, goes to his knees into the arm throw. Do it on the other side so we can get a better view for it. Notice how he has to sell his opponent on the fact that he's going for the bear hug. He's going after the bear hug. His opponent moves away, goes to his knees. This technique, always, anytime you have inside position on your opponent, you want to try to get both hands locked around his waist and bear hug him to his back. So when you're in this position, if you bear hug over the arm, you've got to be careful you don't get thrown, but you can lock your arms around his arm, step and get good position with your hips and your legs, bear hug him. You're throwing him. Bear hug him. I just want you to squeeze him down. That was a bear hug with a little bit of a throw. There's a bear hug, this time using the knee trip. Get inside both arms. It's ideal when you're trying to do a bear hug that you get in under both arms. Get under both arms, get good position, squeeze your opponent down. You want to always make your opponent fear the bear hug. From a collar tie-up position, both guys are going for collar tie-up. Now, let's see you secure the bear hug. Anytime you can get under your opponent's arms, get under his arms. Bear hug's an easy takedown and a very, very efficient takedown because your opponent oftentimes lands on his back. So anytime you start, you can control the tie-up, get under your opponent's arms, get to the bear hug position. Use your knees to trip your opponent down. Don't try to lift him up to take him to the mat. Try to break his balance by pulling down. You notice Derek, once he locks the bear hug, he squats down and squeezes his opponent toward the mat. Part of this technique is if you can't get your knee on the outside of your opponent, you change to the inside position with the reverse bear hug.
You want me underneath the arm?
Yeah. Go bear hug, and then you can't squeeze him on the outside here. Hips down. Excellent. That's good. The drill that we use to develop the bear hug position is what we call pummeling. Derek is going to demonstrate the pummeling position. Under one arm, over the other arms, change so that the camera can see how he's fighting with his chest, pushing with his arms. He rotates underneath the arms, getting his head in good position. From this position, you begin your arm throw, your headlocks, and all your different combinations that lead into the bear hug. The next lesson that Derek's going to present deals with the duck under. This is done from a number of positions, and he's going to demonstrate some of the positions that he's become very proficient in. Our next technique is head on the far shoulder, duck under, body lock. His head starts on head-to-head position. He moves it to the far shoulder. Then he brings his head underneath his opponent's chin and ducks to the other side. And notice how he squats into position. He gets his tie-up position. He gets inside tie-up position, blocks his opponent with his head, puts his head on the shoulder, then changes and goes underneath the chin. Notice the step. Good position. Now from here, he locks the body and drives him to his back. Derek sets this technique up, first of all, with a head-to-head position, pushing and blocking with his head. Then as he repositions his head on the shoulder, his opponent falls off balance. Now from this position, when his opponent's off balance, he makes the duck. Squats into good position, knocks him to the mat. Excellent. Good. When your opponent is trying to get inside position on you or underhook your arms, notice how Derek uses his head. Notice how he uses his head to get underneath his opponent's chin. He blocks, holds him off. Now his head passes underneath his chin and under the arm on the far side. A subtle movement that's very difficult to detect is Derek actually pulls his opponent over his shoulder. Derek pulls his opponent's head over his shoulder as he goes underneath on the duck under. Next technique, your opponent is controlling your wrists. Your opponent's controlling your wrists. Derek shows how he uses the duck under technique. Head to head, he blocks with his head, then he moves his head so that his opponent loses his balance. And then he squats and ducks to the opposite side. That's excellent technique. Actually, Derek uses his opponent's head to set up his arm. He's putting pressure on his opponent's head so that his opponent is leaning on him. Now he slips past the head, fakes one side, ducks on the other. The next technique is designed to attack your opponent when he's pulling your head down. This is called duck under from a head snap. Your opponent snaps your head down, you overhook the arm, lift it up over your head. Let's slow it down. He overhooks. This is important, a lift. Look how he lifts and squats, and now notice how his body comes to a very strong, balanced position. Do it on the other side for him so they can see your body coming underneath. Throw that arm. Throw that arm up in the crotch, or throw it on the other side. Again, he pulls him down, ducks, comes underneath. Excellent technique. It's important when your opponent pulls down that you balance by overhooking his arm. Show him when he's pulling, Barry's pulling Derek's head down. In order for Derek to keep from going to his knees, he overhooks. Oh, we can't see it. We can't angle a little bit more. There you go. As he pulls down, Derek hooks the arm. Now he's in position to lift. Look how he uses that arm to lift, squats, hips come up, drives across. This next technique is a duck under to a body lock position. It starts with controlling the 2-on-1. From a 2-on-1 position, pulls down, ducks under the arm, knocks him down. 2-on-1. Now notice how he changes levels. Notice how he squats to get to the duck position. Squats, gets the duck position, excellent. Next technique is the underhook attack. Derek has a number of different attacks from this position which he's perfected. First technique is the misdirection double leg tackle. Let's do this in a drill form. Do it in drill form like you were drilling in a match. Okay? Good. Do it from both sides. Make sure we can see it from the other side. Notice how he moves his opponent to get into the underhook position. Moves him, gets the underhook, uses his head. He uses his head on the shoulder, blocks off on one shoulder, and then attacks by putting his head on the other side. Again, get good head position, show the camera. That's good. Excellent. Okay? Getting into the underhook position, I like to start them from a hand on the head position or a hand on the shoulder position rather than going out and just going after. So we start with a hand on the head. Now we start to work for our underhook position. He does a collar tie-up into the underhook. This is the underhook to a slide-by position. Underhook position. Now he's going to get inside the arm and just drops his body off to one side, slides to the side, knocks him down. And notice the arm work. From the tie-up position, he's inside. Now his hand, when Barry's arm comes inside, he blocks that arm with his body and knocks him down. Next technique is underhook to a headlock. From underhook position, locks his hands. Face the camera a little bit so they can see. Locks his hands. Now he's ready to position his feet. In order to get the throw, he has to position his feet from the outside. He fakes one direction, goes the opposite direction. Notice how gets good position, locks, hips are in. Now you've got to notice how he rotates his feet. He's got to turn his back to his opponent, so he spins him one way and then turns his back the other way. Again, it's important. There's the lock, good position. Now the footwork, you have to turn your back to your opponent. From the headlock position, starts off with blocking the head, goes to the underhook, locks it up. He's going to circle his opponent away from the direction he's going to throw him. He circles him, turns his back. Notice how his feet turn. Pulls him down. Excellent. Next technique, underhook to a snap down. From his underhook position, he's putting pressure on the head. He pulls him down, grabs his chin, and he's under his arm. Now he starts to move for position, gets a good deep lock on the hip, twist him to his back. Excellent technique. Do that a couple different angles. Next technique is the underhook and limp arm. Pulls his opponent down into the underhook position. Now he fakes and sells his opponent on the underhook like he's going to drive him to his back. His opponent starts to fight down. As he fights down, he drops his arm down and comes around the corner. This is excellent technique. You have to set this up by making your opponent think you're going to take him to his back. Again, do it a couple times. Pulls him down. He pulls him down, makes him think he's going to drive him to his back. Pulls the arm down, goes around. That's good. Next technique is arm drag. Underhook, snap down, arm drag. Pulls him down. Now he puts his arm in arm drag position and pulls him by. Excellent. Do it a couple times, Derek. Underhook. Pulls him down. Yes, excellent technique. It should be stressed that on the way around the corner, always grab the far ankle. Always go after the guy's far ankle when you go around the corner. It's much easier to knock him down. Next technique is the underhook to the bear hug.
Underhook to double. Yeah, I'll fight it. Set up there.
From the body lock position, your opponent now is in a total defensive mode. He steps outside of the knee and trips him down to his back. It's inside position, locks it up real tight, chest to chest. His opponent's going defense, knocks him down. Next technique is a double underhook snap down. You're attacking your opponent with a bear hug. He drops his head in your shoulders and is pulling way back. Pull him down, go around the corner. Again, do it a couple times so we can see it. Do it with your back to us, with your side to us. Locks up the bear hug. Opponent buries his head in your chest, is swaying back. Pull him down. Run around. Excellent. The next technique deals with down on the mat. Derek is in the top position where he is going to show how he breaks his opponent down. When his opponent lines up, Derek studies his opponent's position, lines himself up for the technique that he thinks will work best. First technique is 180-degree breakdown. From the referee's position, he's going to chop his opponent's arm down and pull his waist down and knock him to the mat. Notice how he takes him almost 180 degrees. When you line up on the whistle, Derek's first move is to hit his opponent, to jam his opponent. He jams him, tries to get his elbow down. Now he goes into the 180-degree breakdown. On the whistle, Derek starts. Notice how he keeps applying pressure to the arm. He has to try to keep his hips in good position. Can't let the bottom man get his hips away from you. Very good. Do it one more time on this side. And you should also be able to rotate from side to side. Again, on the whistle, you have to move your opponent. Top man has to move his opponent. Notice the hand position. Changes sides. He's trying to get his shoulder down on the mat. And what we encourage the bottom man to do is to get to a sit position like Barry is so that he never gets broken down flat on his belly. Notice this is important. Derek's back knee is in his opponent's crotch and he's moving him. Just show him how you move the butt. He moves him with that back knee. He keeps walking that toe up and he pulls Barry offside, off balance by pulling his hip across. Another very important position is the position of his knee, his inside knee. The inside knee will be the knee closest to his opponent's head. That inside knee has to block Barry's leg to keep Barry from coming up to his feet. So notice how he positions his knee, positions his knee against Barry's knee as a block so that Barry can't move. The other important factor is he's constantly pulling Barry's elbow toward his side. Pull the elbow into the side and move his hips forward. Once you get him in this position, once a man's in this position, he's open for a number of pinholds. Again on the whistle, this time instead of chopping the arm, you're going to drive the arm and pull on the crotch. The arm goes underneath, good, underneath and across. The other arm goes into the crotch and pulls the leg out so that you can spin him down. Come back up to your base, Barry, and work for a base. Derek, show him how you rotate from side to side to get him flat on the mat. Okay, when you start your rotation, your opponent won't, if he doesn't go down, you want to change sides. Change to the other side. And you're always looking for the wrist. When you knock him down, try to get the wrist. Once you get the wrist, you try to take him to the back, to his back with the wrist. Okay, again, keep going. Okay, we call this position number 2. Spiral ride is called position number 2. Position number 3, or lesson number 3, is ankle breakdowns. And we use these drills together. Number 1 is the far side ankle breakdown, ankle, far knee breakdown. This is the near side ankle breakdown. Excellent. This next technique is called the ankle breakdown and stack. From the starting position, he attacks the legs, drives his opponent down to his side, moves into position where he can stack his opponents on his back by lifting his knee. Ankle breakdown, gets the ankle, picks it up, comes around. Yeah, that's good. Go inside the crotch. Yes. Excellent. Do it again. The next technique Derek is going to show is the bar arms from a number of different positions. It's important on the bar arms that you get your opponent broken down. That's the first thing of order, is to get your opponent flat on his belly. So any number of breakdowns you want to use. The first one is the 180, second one is the spiral, and the third one's the ankle. Or you can use any number of those combinations together to get your opponent down on the mat. Starts with his spiral ride breakdown, pins him to the mat, ties up his wrist. This is when your opponent keeps his wrist trapped underneath your body. Reaches under and tries to get his opponent's fingers. Move so the camera can see you. Pulls the fingers up. Okay, he can't get the arm out, so he puts his knee over his opponent's head. Pulls the elbow up toward his chest, and from here he slides his arm under the arm, moves around to the front into a pin position. Once Derek gets his opponent broken down on the mat, he wants to gets his arm in a hammerlock position, or a position where the arm is in a position across his back. Puts the arm across his back. From this position, he now starts to attack the head and the leg. He's hooked his leg with his leg. He's using his elbow to pull his head to get toward his knee. Locks, takes his opponent to his back. Next technique is a three-quarter Nelson. Derek shows you some of the tricks that he used to get his opponent in this pinning position. Notice how he secures the leg. He hooks the leg and keeps good position with his hips. Also keeps his opponent's head down. There's the reach, and it's important, again, that you get good shoulder position. Move around so we can see the shoulder position. Notice how his shoulder comes underneath. Reach way underneath. Look up, look up, look up. And he locks. Notice the lock that he has on the head. The arm that goes across the neck, the hand that comes underneath is used as a lever to pull down while he drives the shoulder into the chest cavity. This is what helps turn him over. Now he walks his feet around. That's good. Next technique is a cradle. When you start the quarter Nelson and your opponent starts to bring his leg up, his inside leg up, you change and lock up your cradle. Okay. Take him on over. Okay, go again and do it. Again, when you're attacking with a three-quarter Nelson, make your opponent sell him on the three-quarter Nelson. Sell him on the three-quarter Nelson. Now you lock the cradle and you can knock him down. next lesson is the bottom position. Derek is going to show you a number of techniques that he uses when he's underneath his opponent. First technique is the sit out and turn in. Now, bottom man has to take a strong position where his opponent cannot knock him off of his base. It's important that you be able to get to a standing position, a sitting position, or a tripod position. The first technique that Derek is going to use is sit out and turn in. Moves to a sit position. Notice how he doesn't let Barry get under his arm. He's controlling Barry's hand around his waist, drops down on his shoulders and faces Barry so that he's ready to go back in for a takedown. Okay. Again, watch him position his feet. He moves his feet to the side, sits, turns on his shoulder, faces his opponent, and turns in. This is an excellent drill situation down on the mat where the top man has to stay on the elbow and around the waist. The bottom man has to try to turn. As they move, the top man gets good position. Also, the bottom man starts to recognize when he's free. So this is an excellent drill to do for the top man and the bottom man. So the next technique is a sit out, turn in, and side roll. So from the bottom position, he may have to do 2 or 3 sit-outs in order to get the correct position. So he starts out, turns, and he finds himself in a position where his opponent's on his side, reaches in, grabs the roll. Next position is a sit-out and stand up. From referee's position, he moves to a sit, and then from there he fights his way up to his feet, frees the arm around his waist, and turns in. Okay, do that a couple times. Fights up to his feet. The drill to this technique is to sit out, turn in, and stand up. So the top man is going to stay behind the arms. The bottom man is going to rehearse the sit out and turn in, side roll, or stand up. This is an excellent way to drill and an excellent way to learn. Sits, turns. His opponent will be going half speed. He comes up to his feet. Excellent. Again, do a couple of them, turn in or come to your feet or roll. Derek found himself in a position where he could turn in, or he finds himself in a position where he can roll. It depends on, once he starts moving, what position he finds the top man in. Turns in, there's a side roll. Next technique is the leg lift counter for the 180-degree breakdown. Top man is trying to break you down with a 180-degree breakdown. You're going to position your foot inside his back leg. So as he tries to break you down, you position your foot inside his back leg, lift it up, flip him over. That way you break the 180-degree breakdown. Go through it a couple times. Barry used to break him down. Okay, lifts him up, 180-degree breakdown. Go do it a couple of different angles. Just do the sit out and turn in, Derek. Sit out and turn in, and then get sit out and then. Okay, use it. Excellent. Next technique. When your opponent is trying a 180-degree breakdown, you're going to do what we call a shoulder roll. Sometimes it's referred to as a Granby roll. Your opponent's trying to do a 180-degree breakdown, 180-degree breakdown. From this position your body so that you can roll across both shoulders. Slow it down. Again, this can be used as a counter for a 180-degree breakdown. Okay, you can do the same technique when your opponent is in a spiral ride. Same technique. Your opponent this time is attacking with a spiral ride. From here, you got to make sure you pivot. Excellent. You're in a sit position. Your opponent's under both arms. Same technique. You can do the same technique.
Today I hope you learned from the techniques that Coach Douglas and I showed you. Many of these techniques we use in practice every day, as well as what I use in competition.
Hi, I'm Tom Ortiz, assistant wrestling coach at Iowa State University. Today I'll be going over the top position into pinning combinations, and on our feet, today I'm going to go over the underhook position and how to score in different levels. What I'm going to do is show the 180 breakdown what we did when, that was real successful for us when we won the national title in 1988. How I was taught by Bobby Douglas is we broke this down into 3 different steps. The first step was the tight waist, second step was chopping the arm, and the third step was the knee in the butt. Basically, by the time my opponent has gone 180 degrees, he should be flat. Hence the name 180 breakdown. If you attend any of our matches, you'll hear us yelling 180 breakdown, and this is exactly how we do it. Basically, we start off with learning the tight waist. I get a tight waist on my man, and it's put my hand down, and I learn how to turn him away from my tight waist. In other words, I have a tight waist for my left hand, arm, and I'll turn him towards the right, like so. My opponent will keep circling. That's how you learn the motion. That's the first part. Once again, tight waist, put the hand down, turn your opponent. Getting this motion down. Second part is chopping the arm. So we have our tight waist. 1, 2, we want to chop the arm. We don't want to push. We want to chop and pull, get my elbow towards my ribs. So tight waist, pull. Now we're still turning. He's still staying up because his butt is holding him up. Okay? So once again, first part, tight waist. On the hand, chop. That's the motion. This is what we do off the whistle. Hand on belly, on the arm, whistle blows, boom, chop, and turn it, like so. Now, as I do this, what's keeping him up is his hips and his butt. So that is what the third part comes in, where you use this knee in the butt. I'm going to turn my opponent around, show you that this is what I'm using, this part. So I want to line up like so. So when I tight waist and chop, I got my knee in the butt. Therefore, he'll be flat. Once again, 1, tight waist. 2, here, whistle blows, knee in the butt. He stays up, keep driving, I'm going to break it flat. Now this is the position I want to be in. On my toes, pushing. Once again, we're going to start with step 1. Tight waist, turn your man. He stays up. Number 2 is chopping the arm. he's still staying up. So 3 comes in when I put the knee in the butt and drive him flat. Now from here, I got to get my hips up and hip to him, keeping the weight on him. Once I've broken my opponent down flat, what I want to go immediately into is pinning combinations. By the 180 breakdown, breaking my opponent flat, boom. Once I get him flat, the first thing I want to do is post the opposite arm that I'm breaking down. I'm breaking down this side, therefore I post this arm, keeping it straight. From here, I'm going to throw a crossface. Grab my hand, get my hand, put it on his arm, and tuck it. Boom. I get my crossface cradle. And from here, he keeps his leg out here to stop me from taking him over to his back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run his head to his knee, because his back is weaker than his legs. I can't take his leg to my arm. That's too strong for me, or just about anyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take his head to his knee. By doing that, I'm going to keep it tight here and run the head to the knee, like so. As I do this cradle, I want to make sure I don't let go of his arm. I want to make sure I don't let go of his arm. What I'm going to do is run his head to his knee and grab my own wrist, not letting go of the arm. Now from here, all I need to do is switch my hips. I got him on his back. And a very common hold is you put the leg in and squeeze. That's one. Or, if you wish, you can put this bottom knee in, stick it in his ribs. From the cradle position, once I've gotten my points, I'm going to come back up in control and look for inside the crotch underhook. I come up, grab his wrist, my hips are above his, reach underneath, underhook, take him to his back, and hook in the leg. He's broken flat. I have my crossface cradle. He knows I'm going for the cradle, so he's keeping this leg underneath and he won't let me get him. So what I want to do is reach for his leg that's out and lift and step in. Lift, hook. I have a crossface. My opponent is not letting me do the cradle, so what I'll do is I'll hook the leg and go for a bent leg turn. Lift his leg here, hook, put it at the bend of my arm, hook the leg, grab the heel, not the toe, because he can put his foot down. Put your foot down. Boom. I'm gonna, here. Now, due to new regulations and so forth, you can't take this over your opponent's back. So what you want to do is take it at a 45-degree angle. In other words, so they won't stop the hold. So what I want to do is get his hips over. So I'll step and take it like so. Now I got to get my head up above his, grab the chin, and boom, near fall. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the 180 breakdown, and I'm going to chop my opponent's arm, grab his wrist, and go for the tilt. Like so. Going 180 breakdown, he goes flat, I grab the wrist, and with my other hand, I'm going to reach in here and grab a 2-on-1. From 2-on-1 position, I'm going to go straight to my back and tilt him. Elevate with my leg. From near fall. Okay, next tilt I'm going to do the basically similar to off the cradle. I break my opponent down, get his hand in between his crotch, in between the crotch, underhook. So I'm doing 180 breakdown. As I'm breaking him down, I'm reaching in here. Grab the wrist, reach in, underhook, plant, goes, elevate, step in. Next, I'm going to go over some leg turns and how to get your legs in off the 180 breakdown, and to do a couple of pinning combinations and how to apply accurate pressure. So I'm doing the 180 breakdown. My opponent's staying up. I'm having trouble breaking them flat. From there, I'll stick my leg in. That setup to get my leg in off the 180 breakdown is what I use 90% of the time to get into my pinning combinations. With my 180 breakdown, I get my leg in. I don't want to hook my opponent's leg because my hips are not above his hips. That's not a good position because all he needs to do is drop my hip. All he needs to do is drop his hip, and I'm not in good position any longer. Now, I'm not in the best position I can be in. So, when I get my leg in, I keep my pressure here, like so, on my toe, pushing forward. Now with my back leg, I'll hook my own leg to keep the pressure and turn my knee out, keeping my hips above his hips, like so. All the while turning my knee out. Now from here, what I'll do is I'll throw a half and take myself to my back. When I do this, I pull the shoulder to my body. And then I'll stand his arm and pop my hips to stay in good position. That's one way to turn your man. Another way is from this half. Some people just like to bear down the neck, throw a deep half, and drive forward. But my preference from this position, especially on a stronger person, is to pull his shoulder to my chest and go to my back. Now, there I have more leverage on my opponent. Keep my hips up. Another breakdown in order to get the half to turn your man from the leg position is you grab the wrist and subtly push his leg out and lift the hand. Boom, like so. Now from here, I got a good half Nelson position. What I want to do is keep my elbow on his elbow to take him to his back. Like so. I'm applying pressure on my opponent, keeping good position. What I'll do is I'll go for my half. He starts fighting that. What I'll do is I'll grab here and lock my hands, pull them together, drive, go for his wrist, pull my arm out, boom, back to this position. Hand in the crotch, underhook. Also, from my breakdown with the leg in, with this, suddenly pushing this leg out and lifting the arm, is like so. You break him flat. Boom. Now I'm going to grab his wrist, like so, turn it, and what I want to do, instead of lifting his arm up, I'll put my head down here. Because I start doing this, he starts yelling, they're going to stop it. So what I'm going to do, put my head underneath. Put my head underneath, now keep the wrist. Now take him straight back. Boom. Reach. Here. Guillotine. Another turn that I can attempt from here is when I break him down. Boom. Break him flat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my hips over. Like so. From there, I'm going to bend my back and reach up. Lift his leg. Turn. Actuality. Got my leg in. If my opponent allows, I'll get the other leg in, do the half Nelson. Boom. Put him on his back, starts turning into me. I'll pull my legs out, get above him. Pin. An important position when you have your legs in is to keep your elbow right in here, on his leg here. This is a good breakdown. What I'll do is I'll put my elbow right in his underarm, grab the leg, drive forward. I'm on top. I try to come underneath here. My opponent doesn't let me. He puts his hand in his crotch. I'll grab his wrist, take my leg out, and roll through. Presto, 3 points. Legs in. Okay, your legs in. You get the cradle. He pulls his arm out. Your leg comes out. Arm out. Releases his arm. Now what you're going to do is you can't go towards your back because he'll hold me there. So what I'll do is take my hips over his head. You ready? Yeah. Okay? I'm going to take my hips over his head, like so. Now you have yourself a pin. Now I'm going over the underhook series. Basically, there's two positions I use to get in my underhook position. One is to pull the head down. With my back arm, back leg, I'll reach, pull the head. This opens up my opponent's arms, and therefore, underhook position becomes available. I pull the head, underhook. Second position, he puts his hand on my body. I'm going to post, underhook. Now I'm going to go over finishes from the underhook position. First position off the underhook is, once I get here, if my opponent leaves his head down, the easiest thing to do to get your takedown is to pull him straight down to the mat, to a head and arm position. Run around. Once again. position off the underhook is a windmill type action. It's an underhook windmill. Here, boom. It's important in this windmill that you use all three positions simultaneously. Here, got the underhook, got to be able to throw this over your head, like so. You have to be able to move your feet, like so, hop, replace. So simultaneously, it'll look something like this. Get my underhook position. What I'll do is just drop to the sink. Right. Position, when I can't get to his leg or I can't windmill, I'll run to the opposite leg. Unhook position, step with my outside leg under his chin. Post the leg, throw a punch with my arm. Same with the ankle pick. I'm going to step inside, lift his leg, ankle pick. Underhook, hold my opponent down, step in. Boom. I'm in the underhook position. I grab my opponent's wrist. What I'll do is pull his arm up. I crunch to a double. Duck under to a double. Basically, I underhook. And I'll duck to a double. Same position. He grabs my wrist. Next position off the underhook, it's a high crotch. I'll run to the leg. He steps out. Boom. This next technique works best at the edge of the mat when I'm pressuring my opponent off and he's trying to stay on. So I'll back my opponent off, and it's a leg whip. He's backing in, boom, come up. These techniques that I've just shown have made Iowa State wrestlers successful. I hope you have learned something today that will make you a much more successful wrestler.
My name is Chris Bono. Today, Coach Douglas and I are going to show you the double leg tackle, the front headlock, the various finishes to each one of those, and the counters to the front headlock and the double leg tackle. Some of the moves on these tapes are my favorite moves, which helped me to win a national title in 1996.
The first technique is going to be the double leg tackle. Chris Bono is going to demonstrate the technique like he performed it in competition. There's a collar tie up, moves him, squats, changes level, penetrates. When you finish down on the mat all the way through. One more time, move him, penetrate, clears the arms, knocks him down. And notice the tie up. Hand starts on the head, goes to the collar, uses the collar to move him. Dives in, head comes up, good position. That's good. Okay, the second technique is going to be from the bicep control. The same technique, the same tie-up, collar tie gets to the bicep. Now he penetrates for the double leg tackle. Notice how his head comes up, he drives across and ends up in a pinning position. This is important on drilling. Always end up in a pinning position. Uses the arms to move him, drives across, penetrates and finishes.
Third one, full head and go.
The third technique is head pull. From a collar tie-up, he pulls the head down, his opponent reacts up, he penetrates hard to the double leg tackle position. All right, speed it up a little bit, like you were in a drill. Show them how you drill it, just like you're drilling. Good. Back up to your feet right away. Back up to your feet. Drill, penetrate. Yes. Knock him down. Good.
Drill between the legs.
To develop the penetration for the double leg tackle, Chris uses a drill where he penetrates between his opponent's legs. Let's see the drill, Chris. This drill is designed to help develop your double leg tackle. He moves him, starting with the arms on the shoulders, collar tie. You can do this drill from any of your tie-up positions. The important thing is that you move your opponent and you penetrate. Notice how Chris lowers his level as he moves his opponent. Okay, another drill that works with this is you dive and catch both ankles. You're moving your opponent. You're going to dive and catch both of his ankles. Okay, head up, good position. Your dummy man should sit down on your head. This is an excellent drill. It helps the dummy man learn how to react. At the same time, it helps Chris develop speed and timing on his penetration. Okay. Okay, another drill. This drill helps to develop the stance and it helps develop the penetration. So they're balancing head to head in a square stance, moving their feet. To add to this drill, they'll step and penetrate. Keeping their hands locked also helps improve their balance. You can penetrate the double leg tackle, you can penetrate the single leg tackle, or you can penetrate the high crotch. Couple more. Good stance, good stance. This drill really helps with your stance. Okay, that's good. Chris is going to do the third part of his setups, which is called the post. This is getting past his opponent's arms. This is very effective. He scored many points from this position. Goes to the collar tie up, Good penetration. Just drill that position a couple of times. Blocks the head, goes to the collar. He's pulling, blocks the arm, penetrates. Do it from all 4 different angles. Do it from a variety. Moving his opponent. Trying to get his opponent to reach for him first. Get close to the center, close to the center. Pulls, there's the block. Goes under. This is called a post. Okay. The next technique, Chris, is a variation of the post, but if you'll notice his head position. Starts with his regular collar tie-up, but this time instead of putting his head in the hole or outside, he puts it right in the middle, knocks his opponent down. Again. Head goes right in the center. You follow up by driving, and it helps if you'll squeeze your opponent's knees, keep them together. Follow up so that when he lands, you land in a pinning position. Blocks the head. Head in the middle. Okay, excellent. Next technique is post across. Same technique, he blocks, but instead of driving his head in the center, he places his head on the outside of his opponent's hip and runs him down. Blocks the leg, runs him down. Excellent technique. Now the drill for this technique is to simply rehearse this position. Time and time and time again, if you get in there and rehearse this position, you'll eventually get takedowns from this position. Next technique, Chris will show what he does when his opponent has his arms on both shoulders and he's trying to get to his legs. This is called an overhook and post. Opponent puts his hands up over his head in a double collar tie-up. He snaps him down. Knock him down, react, good. Now notice, this is from a double collar tie-up or collar tie-up position. He hooks the arms, blocks the elbows, penetrates. Again. It's important. Look how he pulls his opponent. Pulls the arms, inside, good penetration. Notice how his head pops up and he gets his back straight and his hips come up. Banging with his arms. Block and penetrate. This is a technique that you use when your opponent's hands come down. If you slap your pull down and your opponent doesn't react up, his arms come down, you want to keep driving your head in the center. He pulls down, he reacts up. When his opponent reacts to the pull, this technique is set up by pulling the guy down and running around him. Pull him all the way down. Pull him all the way down and run around. Pull him down, run around him. Now, the next time you try to pull him down and run around him, he starts to react up, and it opens up your tackle. So this is a good drill. Work this drill where you're pulling your opponent down and running around him first, and then pull him down and penetrate. This, again, is a drill that the more you rehearse it, the better you get at it. The one thing you should pay attention to also, as Chris penetrates, as he penetrates, he does a scissor step. Watch his feet. There's a little short step, both directions. He jumps in, and his head comes up. His hips come in and tries to get his hips as close to his opponent's knees as possible. Okay, this time, this technique is called 2-on-1. This is when you're using both arms to attack one of your opponent's arms. Chris is going to show the technique that he uses from this position. Opponent puts his hand on the up. He grabs the elbow and grabs the wrist. Now pull face the camera, so the camera, because he pulls, he's controlling the arm. Okay, number one technique from this position. He pulls him forward, blocks the arm, jumps in on the tackle. Very good technique. One more time. Pulls it off. His opponent blocks his head. He pulls him down. He blocks and hits the tackle. From this technique, his opponent blocks his head. And when he blocks your head, you can use the arm as a block to knock his arm off. Again, diving underneath the arm to the tackle. pulling down, blocks, goes in for the tackle. Do it from this side over here. Get a little different angle over here. That's good. You can set this up by tripping his foot, pulling him forward so that his hand comes back up for balance. Then you can go under on the leg attack. It's important when you take the 2-on-1 off that you hunch your shoulder, raise your shoulder up so that he can't get a real good bite on your head. Now go after his wrist and turn your body to get the arm. Your opponent's always going to have to face you or you'll be able to slip around behind him. So if you know he has to come to this position, you should have your technique set up to attack from that position. For example, if he goes to a collar tie-up from this position, Chris now has an opportunity to hook the arm and go headlock. You know how to do that one? Hook the arm and go headlock. Okay. Or he's taking the 2-on-1 off and spin him around. He can go arm spin. Hooks the arm spin, or arm throw. So this is some of the things that he's making his opponent concerned about, and they should be drilled. Also, from this position, you can attack the far knee or the far ankle. Far knee or far ankle. So you want to combine these drills together. The next technique that Chris is going to demonstrate is how he works his arm drag. Chris approaches and starts working for control of the tie-up. He's controlling the wrist, and now he goes to the arm drag. Turns the arm, sits through on the arm drag. Catches the wrist, sits through, arm drag, goes to the double. Okay, notice how he controls the wrist. The arm, he wants to slow it down. Pull the arm across, and down. Okay, again, Chris starts with wrist control. He turns the arm, sits, grabs the back of the leg, comes up on top. Do it from the other side. Now this is a good reaction drill. That's good. You can make this a real, come on up real quick. You can make this a real competitive drill if we have the dummy man now trying to step across. When Chris tries the arm drag, the dummy man's going to try to step across. This makes Chris react like it would be in a match. Okay, again, do a couple of those. Chris, arm drag. This makes him react. So you want to get your dummy man as part of this drill is to try to step across your opponent. Okay, arm drag double. Next technique, same setup, arm drag into the double leg tackle. Now this is important that you get good position for your arm drag and create a good angle from the side. Let's slow it down and show the actual arm drag coming across. Face the camera. He's controlling the wrist, reaches above the elbow, turns it, drops his shoulder below his opponent's shoulder, shoulder lower, and runs into the tackle. Do it from the other side so they can see it. Now this is important. You want to make this like a football tackle. Shoulder in, football tackle. Go from the other side. Head on the other side so they can see it from that other side. Okay. Now this technique, it's important that when your opponent's hands are on the shoulders, you have to be able to get to the arm drag position. His hands are on the shoulders, on your shoulders. Get inside, roll the shoulder, look away. He gets inside. This is a technique that you can use when your opponent is blocking your shoulders. You want to retreat. Turn your shoulders. Now you're in position for the arm drag. Now this is the part that's really hard. Your opponent has pressure on your shoulders, and he's so low you can't do your arm drag. Then you may want to go back to a tactic of slapping the arms down first, and now look for your arm drag. In other words, if your opponent gets his hands on your shoulders, he's real squatty, you can't do the arm drag, you got to go to a tactic. Hands are blocking the shoulders. He's pulling them down, loosening them up. There's the arm drag. Blocking the guy's shoulders, he grabs a hold of your wrist, drop the wrist down, arm drag. Okay, Do that from a couple of positions. You have to be able to do the arm drag when your opponent's blocking your shoulders and also when you're blocking his shoulders. When the hands are on the shoulders, now let's fight for collar tie-up and arm drag out of a collar tie-up position. This is a very good drill position. Make both wrestlers fight for collar tie-up, and the technique they have to use is an arm drag. So as they fight for collar tie-up, go to the arm drag. Fight for collar tie-up, fighting for inside position, arm drag. Again, inside position, arm drag. Good. This is a good drill, and this is something that should be rehearsed all the time. This works better if you're doing a snap down at the same time you're focusing on the arm drag. So put the two drills together. He does a snap down, pulls him down, now he sets, arm drag. This works as a beautiful combination. It works as a good drill. Instead of putting a hand on the shoulder, you put the hand on the head, he grabs the wrist, you rotate it down, arm drag. Hand on the shoulder, rotates it down, arm drag. Again. Hand on the head, rotates it down, arm drag. Again, this is a drill that should be done with repetition. This helps your speed. And you can put any kind of combinations with this. You can arm drag and do the single leg tackle or arm drag and dive on the ankles. Okay. Okay, your opponent has your wrist. He has my wrist. I want to go arm drag, bring my little finger up over his thumb, arm drag, double leg tackle. Okay, here, thumb goes outside, little finger goes inside, and what I'm doing is I'm getting position on his arm. At the same time, I'm pulling him off balance so he can't attack me, arm drag. The other thing that's important is when you do the arm drag here, I'm rotating. I'm rotating this across his body, arm drag. And I practice kneeling so that my knee is between and my body is real close to him, my head's up, and I want to eventually try to get his knees together to break his balance. The arm comes across the body. He's got my wrist, I rotate it, pull him off balance, rotate it, arm drag. Even if I miss the arm, I'm still going to be in position to do the tackle. Rotates the finger, rotates the wrist, arm drag, penetrate. Now this is real subtle movement with the rotating of the wrist. Rotates it inside, gets wrist control, he moves him. When you move your opponent, it's harder for him to attack you, and that's why you want to control his head. You control his head, control his upper body, and move that part of his body to move his feet. Good. The next lesson deals with finishing the takedown once you've set him up and penetrated to position. Chris is going to show you a number of the techniques he uses to finish his opponent off once he gets in position. The first technique he's going to use is called a back heel trip. Again, he moves his opponent, sets him up, moves in for the takedown, gets good position, hooks his heel, reaches out with his arms, and knocks his opponent down with his chest. Now, this is important. It's important that you keep crawling on your knees because your opponent's going to be retreating. So it's a good drill to have your opponent start in this position and then work for the back heel trip. It's important that you keep your hips close to your opponent's hips while you're trying to step behind his leg. Get your head up, hips up, hook the leg. Excellent. Okay, this technique, Chris, once he penetrates the double leg tackle, he's going to come up to his feet and step between his opponent's leg, trying to hook his legs, what we call the inside leg scissor. Moves his opponent, hits the tackle, moves for position, knocks him down, lifts his outside leg, steps in for the Turk. This is an excellent drill, and this should be rehearsed in sets of 5, 6, 7 at a time. It's important that while you're doing the drills, that your dummy has to react. He has to react so that you get a good feel for what's going on when you're starting to actually do the competition. Excellent. The next technique, once Chris penetrates the double leg tackle position, now what he's going to do, he has a choice. Depending on how his opponent reacts, he's going to pull him down on the side his head's on or the opposite side, or lift him up. So he's going to go through the first one. He pulls him down, knocks the guy down on the opposite side, spins him, drives across. Again, do it from so they can see how you pull the knee in. It's important that you pull on the far knee. Pull the far knee down to the mat and drive across with your head. This is when his opponent starts to sprawl. A lot of times you hit in on your double leg tackle and your opponent starts to get his legs back. You hit in on a tackle. Your opponent starts getting his legs back. You start pulling down. Okay, and then if you can't pull down on the far side, then you change and pull down on the near side. Yes, there you go. Now that was right. When you attack the double leg tackle and your opponent gets his arms around your waist and his legs back, you want to be able to do a duck under position. So you raise one knee and you sit to your side, throw your arm back, and come around behind him. You need to be able to do this technique. His arms go back. You need to be able to get rid of your opponent. Okay. This is a double leg tackle where you're penetrating, your opponent is staying on his feet and you can't break him down. You got to chase him down by running on your knees. So he penetrates his opponent here. He runs on his knees, squeezes the knees together. Excellent. Hit that a couple different angles so that they can get a good idea. Move him around. Good. Excellent. Chris was very effective with his defense. He was always very effective against the opponent shooting a double leg tackle. He's going to show you some of the techniques that he uses. The first technique starts with the bullfighter drill. This drill is designed to help you get your legs back and stay in position to attack your opponent once he starts to attack your legs. So Derek is going to start off by penetrating to Chris's outside leg. Chris moves to the side and positions himself to attack Derek. Drill, position, shoot. Okay, so notice how he creates a side angle. Derek starts to penetrate. Chris creates the angle. Okay, let's do the drill and just guide him by. Show him how you guide him by on the drill. Okay, Chris develops this technique by driving his opponent by as he penetrates to the bullfighter drill. This drill is again called the bullfighter drill. And now Chris changes it. As he penetrates, he pushes him by, sets up, and he penetrates. And we'll rehearse this at various speeds until we get real good timing on it. This is the first line of defense. This technique, again, deals with your opponent attacking your legs. Mostly from the outside. Chris is going to show you how he gets around the corner when a guy comes after his legs. His opponent penetrates, he gets his hips down. Notice how he blocks off on his opponent's head and gets his feet back, keeps moving away from his opponent as he goes around. There's the penetration. He keeps moving away, pulls himself around the corner. Go again from the other side, Derek. Good penetration. Chris gets his legs hips back, keeps his opponent's head down, goes around the corner. Again, this is the sprawl. It's important that you get your legs back and don't stop moving. Don't stop moving. Keep moving until you can move around your opponent. That's good. This next technique is when your opponent penetrates, gets past your hands, you have to stop his motion, so you're going to hit him with your hips and then get your legs back and go around the corner. Okay, he penetrates, gets his hips back, moves around and blocks his hips off, and now he starts around the corner. Go again. Do that on both sides. That's good. Now notice the shot. There's the penetration. He blocks with his hips, gets his hips down, goes around the corner. It's important that you stop your opponent's drive when he penetrates. You have to stop his drive. He stops him by bumping him, gets his hips, blocks his arms, and then comes around the corner. Good. He hits a double leg tackle. You want to fight him off. Give him one. Don't give him both legs. Give him one leg. So Chris is getting good position with his body. Hit it a couple of different angles. He penetrates. He gets a good angle there. Gets his leg back. Get that head away. Gets his head away. Blocks off on his head. Takes the arm away. Okay, hit it a couple more times. Double. Gets his arms back. Fight. And it's also good to work under both arms when this happens. He hits a double. Gets his legs back. Works under both arms. Retreat. Retreat. Okay. Okay, this time you know your opponent's going to shoot. He comes in with one arm up. You get under the arm and get an angle, put him on his back. So he feels the shot coming, his arms up, gets the angle, puts him on his back. Sometimes this is called a whip over. But it's important that you get underneath your opponent's arm when he starts his shot. He's under the arm, excellent. Another important technique is you don't try to flip him over, you try to pull him past your body. Now notice as he comes in, he pulls him past his body and moves his body out of the way. This is excellent technique. This time his opponent penetrates, he gets his legs back and gets a bear hug from the front. Locks him up. Now he's off to the races, getting around behind him. Go again. Do it at a couple different angles. Penetrates, bear hug him from the front. Pulls him forward. Now he starts around the corner. Uses his knee to block off. Comes around the corner. This is a very effective defense for the double leg tackle. He starts off with a front headlock. This technique can be turned into an offense also. Derek attacks for a double leg tackle or penetrates real hard. Chris gets his legs back, and now he locks up in a front headlock position. No, he's around the arm. Men, move around so they can see. Move around the circle. And he's got him by the neck in this position here. Okay. Derek is trying to get to Chris's legs. Chris pulling forward, and then he runs around the side, grabs his ankle, and knocks him down. Okay, do that a couple times. This technique works real well when your opponent shoots from the outside. That's good. The next technique is when your opponent attacks your legs and you have him in a front headlock and you're having trouble getting around the corner. So what you're going to do is you're going to stop and swing his head past your body. So Derek penetrates for the tackle. Chris gets him in a front headlock, starts circling. Stops, puts his hand down on the mat, throws him through. Keep going. Go again. That was good from this angle. Do it from about 4 or 5 angles. There's the penetration. Hooks, front headlock. Hand down. Throws him. Good technique. Stay off of both knees. Again. Penetrates. Head and arm. Moves. Hand down. Whips him by. Excellent. This next technique is a circle and cradle. This is a counter when your opponent starts a leg attack and you can get him in a front headlock. Okay, get your head in position. Okay, locks it up. Now he has an option. He can go to his back and take him over, or he can try to drive him down on his side. Knock him over by going to his side. Knock him on his side. Steps between his legs, hooks the legs, drops all the way over the top in a tight cradle. Shot. Gets the cradle. Okay, next technique. If you can't get the near leg, look between his legs and go get the far leg. Front headlock. He can't get to the near leg, so he gets his head off to the side, goes underneath, gets the near leg, knocks him down into the cradle. Good. Perfect. Do it a couple more times.
Next one is around the waist, circle and around the waist.
Do it a couple more times, Chris. Your opponent starts his leg attack. You do from the front headlock position, you go under the arm. Move and go under the arm. Get her deep around the waist as you can. Keep circling and try to pull your opponent to his back. Sometimes this technique is called a cow catcher. Get under, move around so you can see it. See, you got to see that arm go around his waist. Do it again. That's good, though. That's not bad. This next technique is when you find yourself in a position where you have the front headlock and you're and you have the underhook position on your opponent. Usually starts on your knees. This is when he attacks your legs. This is the underhook, and you're going to roll him into a pin. Fakes one way, goes the opposite direction, comes up with a pin. Do it so that they can see it from the other angle. It's important that you design this. Make him think you're going to try to put him on his back, and then you roll the opposite direction. This technique is used when you find your opponent in a front headlock position and he's on both knees. He penetrates for the tackle, catches him in the front headlock position, positions him so that he can reach across and trip the knee, knocks him over, comes around the waist. Do it the other side. Excellent technique. This is a good technique if your opponent is concerned about you running around him. A lot of times he'll get in position where you can't run around him. Reach across, trip, get the leg. The defense for the front headlock. First of all, you can't let your opponent cut off the blood or the air, so you have to grab a hold of his wrist. A lot of wrestlers grab the elbow, but I think that's dangerous. First technique Chris is going to demonstrate is how he controls his opponent's wrist when he attacks with a front headlock. Chris penetrates. Derek attacks with a front headlock. Chris is controlling his wrist. Now, notice how he keeps his back straight, and as Derek starts to come around, Chris comes up, rolls through, faces him. Okay, go again. Okay, why don't you stand all the way up one time, too. Again, from the other side. Stand all the way up. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. He attacks front headlock. Okay, turned. Okay, there he hooks the elbow. Now this is important. When you make the turn, you got to rotate and pull your head out of the hole. Pulls his head out of the hole. Okay. One more time. Okay, get me in a front headlock. This position here. I like to move into the guy here and then get him pushing toward me, and then I retreat and arm drag. Also, I want to make this guy aware that I can trip him to the arm drag. You know, the thing that I want to be careful of is when I move my arm from this position to this position, that's arms in position to put me on my back. The next position is the counter to the arm drag when you have your opponent in a front headlock position. Derek shoots and attacks the leg, starts the arm drag. Chris reaches underneath his arm, moves to the side, and puts him on his back. Okay, again, front headlock, drag, underhook, turns him over. Notice how he moves to get position so that Derek will fall over.
The moves you've witnessed in this tape are some of the moves that have helped me to become the wrestler that I am. I drill them every day in practice and use them in my matches. I hope that after witnessing this tape, you will become a better wrestler.
Hi, my name is Barry Weldon. Today, Coach Douglas and I are going to talk about single leg finishes and fireman's carry. These are two of the techniques that helped me to become the 1997 NCAA champion.
First technique that Barry's going to work on is penetration. He's going to show you some of the drills that he used to master the techniques that made him a national champion. First technique he's demonstrating is his penetration across the mat. This is his part of his warm-up drill, and this is also a visualization drill. He's jumping off the toe as he goes through. He goes through it in 3 steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4, and up to his feet with step 5. Next drill, to help develop this tackling technique, he penetrates through the legs. And notice how he moves his feet, changes directions. He uses this drill to help him gain momentum as he attacks his opponent's legs. Next technique is the low ankle shot. This drill is designed to develop speed. He's going to penetrate with his head between his opponent's legs in a diving motion, and notice how he extends, and this also helps you generate a lot of speed. His back leg's coming up like a rudder. He's going forward as he changes levels, he's going forward. Now, this is an excellent drill for developing the low single and double leg tackles. This next drill is catch the moving leg. He points to the leg that he's going to attack. Derek moves, he dives and gets the leg and comes back to his feet. And notice his extension, his arms reach out, and he comes back to his feet after he catches the leg. What makes this drill so effective is this is the type of motion you're going to have if you're going to have a good tackle. The next drill is a movement drill. This is the way we position our opponent when we're going to attack him, or move him when we're going to attack him. It's important that you put your opponent in motion, and it's usually done by controlling his upper body. So from a collar tie-up, upper body control position, Barry starts moving Derek, and notice how he retreats as he moves him and pulls him forward. And now from this position, he positions himself so that he's ready to attack. Okay, this last drill again is a movement drill. Using a collar tie-up, he changes from one collar tie-up to the other collar tie-up, pulls him forward. And notice he's pulling him down on the side of the back foot. When you're going to break your opponent's balance and move him, it's always best to pull him down on the side of the back foot. Derek's back leg is his left leg, so he's going to pull him down on the side of the left leg. It always helps if you pull him forward as you pull him down, because that helps break his balance. Also, when you're positioning yourself, you have to block with your head. Block your opponent's body with your head. You can block his head, or you can block his shoulder. The next technique is when your opponent is trying to break your balance, you want to control his elbows. Hold on to his elbows as he pulls you around. You want to make sure you move your feet and stay in good position. Keep good tight body contact and move into your opponent. If you can't hold on to his elbows, the next position is the overhook. Barry demonstrate. When he's pulling you down, overhook his arm. If you don't have a good feel and can't hold on to his elbows, overhook his arms. But it's very important that you move into your opponent. You keep a square stance. That's good. This next section deals with the single leg tackle. Barry is going to take you through a variety of the techniques that he uses for finishing the single leg tackle, setting up the single leg tackle. Barry is going to show this setup from a collar tie-up, he's going to snap the head to the side and run after the leg. There's the snap, position himself, he runs in and gets the leg. Now he's in position to finish. He finishes by sitting his opponent, going inside the crotch. Again, he uses a collar tie-up, he snaps the head, runs and gets the leg, sits his opponent down. Always finishing inside the crotch. That's a great habit to have. Next technique is dropping the shoulder and running to the leg. From a collar tie-up, positions his head, runs in and gets the leg. Next technique is the elbow post and scissor step. Okay, your opponent is fighting your shoulders, blocking your shoulders. What Barry does is he tries to get inside and he brings his thumb to an inside position, blocks, steps in and gets the leg. Do it on the other side too. That's good. Notice the footwork. Go back one more time. Notice the footwork. Notice how he lowers, how he changes level and steps between his opponent's legs. Okay, next technique. This time Barry finds his opponent controlling his from a collar, trying to control the collar tie-up. When your opponent's controlling the tie-up, put the elbow down, he places the elbow down, he runs in and gets the leg. Now he's in position to finish. Comes across and finishes. That's excellent. And notice, a lot of times when your opponent does a collar tie-up, he puts a lot of pressure down on your head. If you cannot get this pressure off, then it's best to go with the pressure, put it down on the mat. You notice how his feet change positions. Runs and gets the leg. Excellent. Next technique is fake like you're going to put the elbow to the mat, run across and get the far single. Excellent setup. This technique works best after you've put the elbow down on the mat a couple of times. And arm drag when your opponent is doing wrist control. Your opponent is doing wrist control. Barry's going to do an arm drag. He brings the arm back, does the arm drag, goes in for the double leg tackle. Now notice how what he does when he brings his arm back. Left arm comes back and he pops his wrist down, turns his wrist inside, goes to the single. This is an excellent setup for the leg attack. Okay, this time your opponent is controlling your wrist and you don't feel the arm drag. You don't feel like you can get position. Grab his wrist, slow it down. Grab his wrist. Grab his wrist. You got to slow it down. Grab his wrist. Now show the steps. Show the steps. Grab the wrist. Show the steps. There's a subtle pull. He grabs the wrist. He pulls elbow to elbow. Scissor step, goes to the leg, sits him down. Excellent technique. Next technique is a 2-on-1 single leg tackle. Opponent positions his hands on the shoulders. Barry controls the arm with a 2-on-1. From this position here, he blocks the foot with his foot, steps in and catches the leg. Okay, demonstrate it now. Just go through and drill that a couple times. Next technique is 2-on-1 pull down. Controls the arm, fakes like he's going to grab the, block the foot, then he pulls the arm forward, slides around behind him. Excellent. Next technique is over tie and shuck. So from the collar tie-up, this is when your opponent has a collar tie-up or is fighting for inside position and you can't get inside position. Overhook. Now pull his head across to the opposite side. Position. Move so that you're in position to throw his head past your body. Okay, next technique is the over tie, single leg tackle. Blocks, fakes the over tie, fakes the shuck, blocks the elbow, sets him down. Do it a couple times. From the over tie position, your opponent gets inside control position. You go over tie, over collar tie up, pulls his head to the side, snaps it down. That's good. Yeah, show him the thumb. Show him the thumb position, Barry. Excellent. Excellent. And this can be the drill. This can be a very important part. Repetitions on from this position, the collar tie up to the overhook to the single can be a drill. Single leg tackle, step over, and rubber arm. From single leg tackle position, step over the leg, grab his far arm, then as he reacts, pull your arm free from around his waist and finish on top. It's important that you get good position with your leg now. Reach for the arm, pull your arm free from his waist. Okay, next technique is a single leg tackle finish. When you can't get the step over, you're going to elevate the foot. So he penetrates the single leg tackle, steps up, can't get it, elevates his leg up, comes up to his feet, now he's ready to attack. Next technique is a head snap to a single leg tackle. Okay, do it again. This time instead of sitting, take the knee up. Tommy, he's going to take the knee up. Excellent. Follow him to the mat. Good. Rehearse that a couple times. Barry uses a collar tie-up and head snap to attack the single. Then he lifts the knee and secures the takedown. From inside position, collar tie position, he fakes the single. He finds his opponent's arms on the outside, so he slaps him down to the mat, runs around. Go again. This is one of Barry's favorite techniques. Fakes to the single, snaps the arm down, gets around the corner. Excellent. The single leg finish, sit through. Comes up, comes underneath. Okay. Penetrates for the single leg tackle. His opponent's defense and getting his legs back. So he comes up, sits underneath, comes through. Comes around the leg. Show it again from this back position. One more time. Yeah, that's good. This is a misdirection leg attack. Misdirection leg attack. You fake one way, fake to your right, go to your left. Your head goes to the left. fake your head to the right first, then it comes underneath his chin, goes to the left. This next lesson covers single leg finishes. The first technique is from a single leg tackle position is what we call a toe block. He blocks his opponent's far foot with his toe, knocks him to the mat, following him to the mat. Starts his collar tie up. I'd even go 1-2 instead of just going to the collar. I'd go out, starts his collar tie up, goes to the single leg tackle, blocks his heel, knocks him down. Excellent technique. Next technique, single leg tackle, switch off to double leg. Gets a single, he starts, then he goes to double leg, jumps across so that his opponent lands on his back. Do it from another angle. Okay. Okay, this next technique, single leg tackle, leg lifts. From a single leg tackle position, once you capture the leg, lift the knee as high as you can to finish the takedown. Again, Barry starts with a collar tie up, goes to the single leg, lifts the foot up in the air to finish. Single leg tackle finish, knee lift. From collar tie up, secure the single leg tackle, then turn your back to your opponent and lift his knee, going in a corkscrew manner. Note how Barry spins away from his opponent. He steps forward, spins away from his opponent, lifts the knee to finish. Next technique is a single leg with a collar tie-up finish. There he goes to the single, moves his opponent, got to see the hand. Hand comes off the leg, hits the head, collar tie-up, follows him down to the cradle. Excellent technique. Do it a couple more times. Excellent. The next technique is a single leg tackle with a leg split finish. From the single leg position, he reaches inside the crotch, splits his legs, ends up on with a takedown. Single leg tackle, leg split, finish. There's a single leg, reaches inside, grabs the knee, follows him to the mat, finish the takedown. This next lessons are going to be on the defense to the single leg tackle. One of the keys to being successful is you have to have a good defense, and you must defense the single leg tackle. Arm block. Okay, this is a drill that we use for arm block. Let's go collar tie up, and he's going to demonstrate the drill. Just block the arms from a collar tie. Both guys are working collar tie up. He feels a single coming, he blocks the arm. Collar tie up, he feels a single coming, he blocks the arm. Blocks the arm on the inside. From that position, you can pull his head down or go to high crotch, but this is the first counter for a single leg, is blocking with the arm. This next technique is called a head throw, or repositioning the head when your opponent is on the single leg. Tommy attacks with a single leg tackle. Barry blocks with his hips, gets his head to the outside, goes around the corner. It's important that when your opponent makes contact that you move into him. You've got to stop his motion, stop the penetration. Penetration, he blocks him with his hip, pulls his head to the outside, and sprawls, moves around the corner. This next technique is when your opponent attacks your legs and you're in a position where you cannot get out in front. If you can't go to a front position and sprawl, you want to make sure that you position his hands below your knees. Don't let him have his hands above your knees. From here, you hold his head and body on the mat, and now you're going to turn and circle to your lead leg. Your free leg, you're going to turn in that direction, and it's important that you use your arms. You've got to spin with your arms. Whip your arms, turn your body, and that takes you around behind your opponent. Excellent. Again, do it all in one motion. Let him come in on a single leg, pull him to the mat, and then spin as he goes through. Pull him down. He pulls him down. He starts his spin. Again. Okay, the attack, the single leg attack starts. Barry starts his defense. He turns and slides his foot through. Slow it down one more time. You've got to keep your opponent's head down when he attacks in this position. He attacks, blocks his head. Now from this position, as you turn, you've got to drag your toe and slide your heel through his arm. Start to turn, drags his toe and slides his heel. Okay, this is stepping down. Single leg defense, when your opponent has control of your leg, you've got to find a way to get that foot back down on the mat, lock both of his elbows, pull the elbows and push hard down, running your foot down inside of your opponent's leg. Your opponent has a single leg, you've got to break. You squeeze his elbows, pull his elbows together, and be ready to step back in and attack. Now notice when your opponent gets the arms, you got to get your arm free. That's good. Next technique is sprawling, making sure you get your toe down, and then facing your opponent and pulling him forward so that you can get around him. Keep working. Get on around him. Okay, your opponent penetrates, slide your toe back, keep moving, and work your way around him. Anytime your opponent has your leg, you've got to get your toe on the mat. Get the toe down, good position, drops his hips down, covers the head, moves around. This next technique is probably one that has scored more points for Barry than anyone on the team. It's the fireman's carry series. First technique is from a collar tie-up. You're going to wipe your opponent's back off and go to fireman's carry position. Wipes the back off, comes underneath, good shoulder position, takes him over with the fireman's carry. Do it from about 3 different angles so they can see the hand work. Gets his tie-up position, collar tie-up, slides it off. Excellent. Notice how he controls the head. Pulls the head off. He's got the option of either going to his right or he can change and go to his left. Fireman's carry is a powerful technique because it always, and most of the time, it involves extra points. This setup, this is a fireman's carry setup using your opponent's shoulders. You're twisting your opponent's shoulders and then pulling yourself underneath. So from the shoulder push on one side, he lifts the elbow or lifts the arm on the other side and attacks with the fireman's carry. Inside position, twist the shoulder. A lot of time your opponent will put pressure back into your hands, which helps you get into fireman's carry position. Okay, 2-on-1 tie-up, 2-on-1 control into the fireman's carry. Okay, he has the wrist, circles. From 2-on-1 position, swings, head goes under the arm, gets to the leg, fireman's carry. Next technique is the kneeling fireman's carry. From his tie-up position, inside position, he jumps to both knees. Barry jumps to both knees, lifts him up, gets his hips has to come up, his head has to come up, and actually the head is used to hold the arm. The side of the head is used to hold the arm. From this position, you can throw him into a pinning position. Okay, go through it all in one motion. Yes. From a wrist control position, we're going to go into the fireman's carry, pulls him, holds onto the arm, goes for the outside leg fireman's carry. Same technique, controlling the wrist, pushing the arm. This time he goes inside fireman's carry. Okay, rehearse that a couple of times. Notice how he's pulling the arm. Pulls on the arm, head goes between the arms. Okay. Next technique, fireman's carry, change to a single leg tackle. Excellent. Again, do it a couple more times. That's good. Finish. Do it so we can see it from the other side over here. Yeah. Yep. Excellent. Next technique is when your opponent's underhooking you, you go to the fireman's carry position. Excellent. This works real good at the edge of the mat. Do it a couple more times. That's good. Excellent. The next technique is called a barrel roll, or fireman's carry from your knees. Make sure you secure the arm and keep good head pressure. Note he steps up with his outside leg. His outside leg steps up, pulls down on the shoulder, lifts the leg to throw him to his back. Fireman's carry from the knees, knee lift. From the fireman's carry position, Barry reaches under and blocks the far knee. Blocks the far knee, pulls down on the shoulder to secure the takedown. Next technique is a fake arm drag and fireman's carry. Next technique is a fake arm drag, fireman's carry. It's set up by attack in the leg. Knee block, fireman's carry from the knees. Barry positions himself for the fireman's carry, reaches across and trips the knee. Fireman's carry position, reaches across, blocks the knee, comes up on top. The next technique is the fake fireman's carry into the arm drag. Starts the fireman's carry, doesn't work, reaches up, arm drags, and comes out on top. Fireman's carry from the knees into the arm drag. Barry starts a fireman's carry, misses the fireman's carry, and comes back with an arm drag. This also works as a counter to the head and arm. Derek has a head and arm. Barry loosens up the head and arm, fakes the fireman's carry, then goes to the arm drag. The next section deals with the defense for the fireman's carry.
First one's going to be a chin lock.
First defense, your opponent attacks with a fireman's carry. Get your hand on his chin. The arm that he's trying to attack, reach for the chin to free your arm. Again, slow it down a little bit. Yeah. Let him work his way in there, Barry. Once he goes in, you've got to go after the chin with your hand. That's a very good counter for the fireman's carry. Next technique is short arms. Your opponent fights for fireman's carry position. You've got to pull your arms out so that he doesn't have a good lock on your arms. Next technique is whip over. When your opponent tries to do an arm drag from a fireman's carry position, this technique works real well. Fireman's carry, once he gets into fireman's carry position, wait for the arm to come up for the drag position, then you're in perfect position for the pancake. Again, slow it down. Fireman's carry position. You feel the fireman's carry position. He starts the arm drag, arm hook, underhook his arm, pull him to his back.
These are the moves that helped me become a national champion. I hope they can help you too.